Hey, Lima. I wasn't even saying that correctly until about, well, this morning, until I heard all of you say it. I don't even think I've been to Ohio, but sure, I am enjoying this, and this is a very warm welcome thanks to all of you. So thank you. Are you having a good day? Feeling a little bit of some carb overload. That's why they put me right after lunch to pump some excitement back into you. So we're going to have some fun. I'm holding this gift bag. By the way, one lucky person is going to win what's inside. But there's a catch, isn't there always? So all you have to do, I'm going to take a few questions towards the end of this session, but I won't have time to answer everyone's question. So what I'm asking you to do as we move our way through some of this content, tweet me, send me a question. And what I'll do, any question that you can fit into 140 characters, I will pull up my phone during question period and choose one person at random who has tweeted me, and you will get an awesome gift bag, and I'll reveal what's inside at the very end. Deal? Does everyone here have a phone? Does everyone here have Twitter on their phone? Beautiful. Are some of you confused? Right, no, that'll change. Are some of you confused on what exactly you're supposed to be tweeting? Possibly. That's why they brought me here to Ohio. I'm very, very happy to be here with you. I'll tell you a little bit about me, and then we're going to talk all about Twitter today, since this is Social Media Week. I travel all over the place. I speak often on branding, occasionally on social media. But whenever it's a social media focus, I tend to focus on Twitter because I believe it's still one of the most underutilized platforms. And it gets a lot of hate. People tend to focus on all the wrong things, like Twitter's stock price. And I'm like, maybe let's talk less about that and more talk about using this as a platform to access a targeted audience for free. And I still, to this day, I wrote my book called Shut Up and Tweet, launched it at the California Women's Conference in 2014. Still to this day, I would argue that Twitter is the best platform to access a targeted audience. So let's talk about this word, audience. It'll make a little bit more sense as I tell you my background, but this word is very interesting to me because many of you, sure, all of you are business owners, entrepreneurs. You may have a product or a service. I actually got my start after I graduated, moved to LA. I started working with TV hosts where this term audience really had a lot of meaning, right? I was helping to launch brands for TV hosts, helping them book jobs, get on TV, and they knew their audience. And now all of you, as you grow your brands, are also building your audience. I love today, we've had some incredible speakers that have focused on Facebook Live, and I've been saying this for years. Working with people who are comfortable on camera is one thing, but I have literally been saying for years that whether you like it or not, all of you are personalities. Every single one of you has to be media trained and has to be comfortable communicating in this new medium because live video, as we know it, is here to stay. So I believe that Twitter is that tool to help us access a targeted audience for free. Many people get confused on exactly what they should be doing on this platform. So fret not, we will cover that in detail. I want to start by touching on branding. And even though that's not the focus of our discussion today, it's really a fundamental process that I teach every single place that I go because it's really important for you to know and for you to apply this to whatever you're building. So here's how all of this works. Regardless of your industry and your level of fanciness, this is all the same. We do this in 3 steps. First, we position your brand, okay? And I'll give you the formula for that in just a minute. Once your brand is positioned, we build something to show for it. Your photography, your website, your brand identity, your social profiles. And once we've built something to show for who you are and why people should care, then we'll move on to promoting it. And really that's, I would say the number one mistake that I observe is people jump too quickly to this third step Phil, I've got a book that I'm launching and I want to promote it. Phil, I've got, a project, or you're trying to impress investors. People jump so quickly to this third step, promoting your brand, without really having built something proper to show for it, or having positioned it where you're satisfying a need, like every good business does. So let me just very quickly talk about positioning so it gets you thinking about whether or not you're on the right track. Or maybe you require a little bit of a pivot as we move into promotion, which I would include social media within that. I've got a formula for this that I want to share. I believe that every single person in this room should have a brand that's based on two important elements. The first, what do you love? Something you love to do, but not that on its own, because that's what we call a hobby. And a hobby is not necessarily a business. So what is it you love to do paired with something others need and are willing to spend money on it? In this job, I think my favorite thing about it is that it gives me an excuse to interact on a routine basis with really interesting people. It could be someone that has a great idea for a new business or a service, and they're really pumped up and excited about it, and they're nice to work with. I'll say on my website that I have a strict no diva policy, and I mean it. But all the way up to, anyone by a show of hands watch the show Shark Tank on ABC? Yes, I've worked on Shark Tank for 6 seasons. Not for the production itself, but for one of the beloved sharks. And I wish I could tell you who, but you can ask me one-on-one, and I might be able to tell you. It's not Mr. Wonderful. No, I just heard that up here. So I have had a front row seat to many ideas, products and services. And really, what I've observed with my clients and pitches and all the different projects I've done around the world, this formula is true. So what is it you love to do paired with something others need? Satisfy a need like every good business does, and it will make your life a lot easier. So story time. Here's me in 2011 with a really bad haircut. I'm from Canada, so I moved to Florida 2010 to do a master's in entertainment business. I was set to graduate 2011. 3 months before I was set to graduate, I entered a competition along with sending resumes in all kinds of different directions. I entered to become Charlie Sheen's social media intern. Right? I know. At the peak of his craziness in the media. And so, very long story short, I created my very first website, and I made it from 90,000 people to the top 50 in this competition. And without really even doing it intentionally or realizing what I was doing, I had created a social media campaign, Tiger Blood Phil, to become his intern. And so I had about 3 or 4 different waves of press. I did over 100 TV, radio, print interviews. And without actually, as I say, realizing it, I built my first case study. I built my first client project that I was able to use to show people that, hey, I'm kind of good at this stuff. This article came out 1 week before I was set to move to LA. It was, that was the entertainment section of the Toronto Star. The headline was, "Forget Sheen, Hello Seacrest." My big head with the words wrapped around it. And I thought, okay, cool. I had a missed call. I was at Universal Studios because I was getting ready to graduate, and I was all excited. I was there with friends. I had a missed call from LA, and I thought, oh my gosh, he must be calling me. Someone from the office must be calling me to congratulate me. So missed call from LA, called him back, got on the phone with the VP at Ryan Seacrest, who said, "Phil, are you sitting down?" I was like, "No, I'm at the theme park having a blast, but what's up?" He goes, "I have some really bad news for you. We have $1 million advertisers threatening to drop because we've had hundreds of Google alerts today notifying us about all kinds of press connecting Charlie Sheen's brand of cocaine and strippers to Ryan Seacrest's brand, squeaky clean family brand. And so we have to fire you before you're even set to start." And so I didn't tell you, while I was in this competition intern for Charlie Sheen, on the side I was building this opportunity, this lead I had to intern for Ryan Seacrest, which was actually my dream. So not only did I leave the Charlie Sheen competition because of this article said that I left it, I got fired by my idol 1 week before I was set to move and work for him. And so I had to figure out what to do really quick. I walked past this building every day for about 3 weeks. That's E on Wilshire, if any of you have been to LA. Didn't have a car. I mean, I was a hot mess. And people would ask me questions like, what is it like to work for Ryan Seacrest? Because this were all the articles. He leaves the competition with Charlie Sheen to work for Ryan. And additionally, they said to me, you can't talk about Ryan. Never say his name. No more press, or you're going to have a very rude welcome to this city. Word for word. That's what they said to me. And so I got it out of my system when I went to the Wax Museum and posed for this photo. But really, I had to figure out, where can I satisfy a need? I'm applying for jobs at branding agencies. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? I think I like branding. No callbacks or job interviews or whatever they're called in the real world. I still don't really play too much in the real world. But, I didn't get anything, so I had to figure out, where can I fit into this? And this is why I'm telling you this story. So I did what everyone does when they move to LA and get headshots, right? Your job could be picking up garbage in LA and you still have a headshot. And I thought, maybe I want to pursue TV hosting. That was my first job in Canada. I was 15 and worked for an educational network and hosted a reality show. And then I thought, oh my God, there's people who are willing to line up every day, cattle calls, to try and get one single job, literally spend weeks trying to get one single job with no guarantee. I was like, I don't think that world's for me, but I'll help those people. Because at the time, personal branding was still a newer concept. And so I was like, there are real estate agents, and there are jewelry designers, and there are makeup artists that are reaching out to me saying, Phil, help us build a logo, build a website. Traditional agencies would charge all kinds of money, and so there was a need to help personal brands. And that's what I've been doing ever since 2011. Now I get to do fun things as part of this job as a celebrity brand expert, which is completely ridiculous. I get to help out on very hard-hitting news stories like Kylie Jenner's lip injections, or Justin Bieber trying to revive his good boy image, or Taylor Swift, or all this dumb stuff, Oprah, whatever. And so they bring me in as an expert to essentially give them one single soundbite that goes in the news story. And so this title, Celebrity Brand Expert, kind of developed after I'd been working for a few years as a brand strategist and working with clients on TV and some of the TV shows that Terrence named at the very beginning. But really, this is all what I built for myself by having a brand. How did I get the title, Celebrity Brand Expert? Well, the first time I ever appeared there was a favor for a friend who I didn't know was the news director. And I was walking to the elevator, and she said to me, Phil, before you go, what's your title? Celebrity Brand Expert, I turned to her and said in this moment of brilliance. And so now I get called almost daily to give expert opinion on all kinds of press. And most of the time, I don't even know who these people are. But do you want to know why I'm a celebrity brand expert? Because I said so. I mean, I give comment on prime ministers. I travel the world. This was me walking down the runway in Japan. Make no mistake, I know you're thinking, wow, that looks like a Victoria's Secret model. It's not. It's just me. Yeah, right. Thank you. And so now I get to travel the world and teach people how personal brands and the strategies we use to build that can inspire how companies brand, for example. That's a little bit about how I filled in the variables on that formula for positioning your brand. Something you love to do paired with something others need. Figure out where there is a need for you in the marketplace, and then build your house, and then promote it. I want to focus on the leaner ways to promote your brands. It's not often that people come to me and say, Phil, I have a ton of money that I want to spend to let people know who I am. I mean, if that's you, good for you, but that's not me. How is it that always the most famous and wealthiest people always have the least amount of money to spend? So that's my world. And so we really have had to get creative to figure out how can we build a system that makes this make sense for you to incorporate into your everyday workflow, your schedule. And so because having worked with people in small businesses, time is the limited resource, right? Time is the thing that there is it's constantly ticking. It's like, okay, how am I going to fit all this stuff into my day? Realistically, you can't. So it involves creating a system to make this make sense for you. So I often tell people rather, than being average on 10 different platforms, let's be really good at 3. Let's be a rock star on 3 platforms, because I doubt that you have a team of social media marketers that follow you around everywhere you go. Wouldn't that be nice? So let's think about what those 3 are. And at this point, people usually say, well, Phil, what are your 3 priority platforms? So I'll tell you. So first for me is Twitter. For me, I've built my entire business from Twitter. It is the platform that I'm strongest on. It's the one where I engage with people the quickest. Send me an email. It'll take me 6 months to get back to you, but send me a tweet and I'll get back to you same day. I love the brevity. I love the proof of concept. And the fact is, number of Twitter followers, the constant kind of incorporation of my brand in the content that I share that's shared in a meaningful way has helped me book speaking engagements. It's helped me get on TV. It's helped me in a lot of ways, as well as helping my clients. So people can say, well, Twitter's not that useful for me. Okay, well, I can count on multiple hands how many clients have used this platform from scratch to build their profile, show proof of concept, and essentially reach their goals. And sometimes the hang-up is on what should I tweet? And I'm going to break this all down for you and tell you exactly what to do on this platform and how to use it to grow and create new connections. So we'll talk about Twitter, but let me move on to some of my other priority platforms that might surprise you. Pinterest for me is like rarely talked about, occasionally, but for me it's number 2 because of what I do, right? I own a branding agency, and so people look to me for guidance and inspiration on your visual brand. Oh gosh, when I joined Pinterest, I thought it was so fancy because back in the early days, you had to have a special link. You had to get a special invitation. So I was pinning recipes, cute outfits, travel destinations, all kinds of things that people are not looking to me for. Recipes? I don't think so. Workout routines? No. And I was like, oh, here's an idea. Phil, why don't you take your own advice? What would I tell a client? I'd say, well, use this platform. Prioritize the ones that matter. That's where you spend your time. Where's your audience? And then give it purpose. What are you doing with this platform? Well, I wasn't doing anything that was useful to anyone else, and that was a problem. So I deleted everything, started from scratch, and I started pinning good examples of branding. And I went from 800 followers to 20,000 in less than a year, literally by doing this for 5 minutes a day, pinning good examples of branding, growing my audience. Now it's a major platform for us to push out content and drive traffic to our website and all those other things that you do. The third one for me in terms of a priority platform is one that I have a love-hate relationship with, Instagram. I'd say, having recently discovered third-party tools that allow you to manage the crazy a lot better, right now I'm using Planoly. Does anyone use that? I love it because it's helping me actually design the look and feel of my Instagram before I post. But again, I have a lot of stress around the idea of visuals because I own a branding agency and I'm a terrible photographer. I hire photographers. I'm certainly not one. And so for me, I gave this platform purpose. I started to use it to document my world travels. And in fact, a few of you have come up to me over the last 24 hours and say, Phil, I love keeping up to date with you on Instagram. Mike, that was you actually. You said it to me last night at dinner. You said, I feel like I'm there with you, and that's the whole purpose. That was really the key to the success of my Charlie Sheen social media campaign, was not making it about me, but making it about you, making it so that you were along for the journey. And there's a lot of power in that. It might just be a simple shift in thinking, okay, how can this tool become a resource for someone, right? And so my Pinterest, to go back to that, my Pinterest is a tool for me to document good examples of branding. It's the first place I go when I start a new brand identity project for a client, but it's also a tool for you if you need inspiration. And so Instagram for me, I would say, is my third because I travel like a maniac, 60 flights a year. So for me, this is a tool I use to document that and post unique content. I don't just push every update on every platform to every other platform at the same time. Kind of defeats the purpose. Why would someone have motivation to follow you on every platform if you're pushing out the same thing at the same time? So Instagram I treat as very unique. I reward the people that engage with me there, talk to them often about travel, which is really, a whole other thing that has developed based on my interests that now people look to me for ideas and inspiration on. So those are my 3 priority platforms. I would encourage you to think about what your 3 are, and it's not going to be the same for everyone. You will notice that Facebook is not in my 3 priority platforms. It doesn't mean I don't like it or I don't see value in using it for my business. It just isn't a priority for me. Where I've used these 3, I know that I have an audience on these platforms, and I tend to like to do things differently than everyone else. So I brought this up in speaking about Pinterest, but let me just reiterate this. Giving your platforms purpose. This theme has come up this morning, and it will continue to come up. But gone are the days where we can simply just exist on social media, just creating content because we know that's what we're supposed to do, quoting ourselves in third person as inspirational, quote cards. Oh, gosh. We really need to think differently about how we're doing this, how we can stand out. Giving your platform purpose gives you the framework to know why you're updating that platform. But better yet, it tells your audience what they can expect. And ideally, it defines the reason they're going to follow you because they're getting something from you. And there are a lot of platforms out there. This is a few of them, right? But there are more and more and more that continue to pop up. But so think, the likelihood that you could be successful on Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, and the list goes on. The likelihood that you can be successful on all of these is not good. So I need you to really isolate your 3 and become a rock star on those. And that's going to get us one step closer to using these platforms to help you achieve your goals. So let's talk about Twitter because I promised we would. Twitter, I'd say the number 1 pain point is from people, what should I be tweeting? Or if people haven't given consideration to this or created a system for themselves, you might just be using this as a tool for broadcast. Here's what I'm eating for lunch. Here's what I'm doing in Ohio. Here's what I'm watching tonight on TV. Well, I have terrible news for you. No one cares. Not a single person. And so, in working with TV hosts back in the day, helping them launch and book jobs and focusing on that, I thought, people continue to do this wrong, so I've got to build a system that helps us and helps me take inventory of what I'm creating to ensure that it's done on a consistent basis. So I took all the tweets that people create out there and categorized the ones that were good into 4 categories. And now I challenge people to tweet every single day. If it's not something you're super comfortable doing, stick with 4 a day. If that seems easy to you, then you can just multiply the number of tweet types. But I'm going to tell you right now what you should be sharing on Twitter to make this make sense. Taking out the guesswork. So I have 4 tweet types, and I'm going to tell you what they are right now. They each have a 2-digit short form. Let me put them up so you can take some notes. WL. First one stands for website link. Anything about you. There's a reason I don't call it self-promotion. Again, no one really cares. A website link, a link specifically, means that rather than just stating something, if you can link someone somewhere, say to a blog post, recent press article. That means that you have the potential to have them engage with you for 3 minutes instead of 3 seconds. But anything about you is only 1 in every 4 tweets that you share. Website link. We've covered that. Got it? Good. Move along. QQ stands for quick question, meant for engagement. Can be on brand or can be not on brand. So something that would not be on brand for me would be a tweet like this: coffee or tea. Has nothing to do with what I do professionally, but guess what? I'm not a brand robot. Are you? I'm pretty sure you're a human being. So there's really no reason we can't continue to engage as humans. So I switch them up. Every other tweet, every other quick question is on brand or not on brand. Something like, complete the tweet. The next place I want to travel is, draw an underline. You wouldn't believe just having these go out on a routine basis allows you to help stay on people's radar. IB is the next one. Stands for industry buzz. The 1 tweet in 4 that gives you the opportunity to remind us that you're a boss, you're a baller. We know you're the top of your game because you know what's up in your industry. A statistic, a fact. I saw that hand motion. Don't think I didn't see you. I'm like, you're a baller. He's like, I know. Industry buzz is your opportunity to remind us that you're an expert in the field. The final one is NE, stands for networking effort. It's the most important tweet type. Twitter is not a tool for broadcast. It is a tool for conversation. Facebook is your close-knit group of friends. What happens when a stranger tries to add you on Facebook? You're like, ooh, no, go away. I don't know you. But on Twitter, Twitter's like an airport. This is a hub where people are moving in all different directions with all different purposes, but it's generally acknowledged that it's okay to follow a stranger, right? Every single week, I start and join in on brand new conversations that are happening day to day. And these are people that have literally led to best friends of mine, countries like Sweden. I'm going in 2 weeks to visit my friend that I literally met on Twitter. Clients, conversations. This is the power of this tool if we can build a system and stick with it. Chapter 6 of my book is called Popularity Contest, and I teach people how to implement a very simple follow-unfollow strategy that help you get your ratios right. Why do ratios matter on Twitter? Well, if you're following 1,000 people and you have 2 followers, what are you? You're a loser. You're the person at the room, at the party, that no one wants to talk to. And I don't want anyone of you in here to be that person. But I'm just letting you know how cliche for me to arrive from Hollywood and just tell you, casting directors are looking at Twitter. Networks are still looking at Twitter. TV shows are still using Twitter as the main platform for them to engage and interact. And I'm just telling you that this tool is still the easiest one to grow and show proof of concept. Show that people care about whatever it is that you've created, product or service. So the last tip I'm going to give you, and then we'll answer a few questions, is this: your bio on Twitter. I have a formula for this, like I do everything else. The formula to write a great bio for social media, Twitter, and the other platforms is this: 2 sentences. First sentence, who are you? Why should I care? Second sentence, give me a flavor of your personality. Because unfortunately, on the web, we don't have the privilege of being face-to-face, right? On the web, we have technology sitting in the middle of you and me. And so we have to overcompensate a little bit. Every single person out there is made up of 2 ingredients: content and personality. Content is why I find you. Personality is why I keep coming back to you. If it's just one or the other alone, it's not really a sustainable strategy to keep people engaged with whatever you're doing. So, your bio. First sentence, who are you? Why should I care? Second sentence, give me your personality. What does mine say? It's so small. My first sentence is something to the effect of brand strategist for TV personalities, experts, and businesses tells you who I am and why you should care. Second sentence, if your baby's ugly, it's my job to tell you. And that's normally the reaction I get. People love it. Sometimes people are offended by it. But if you're offended by it, it's a good indicator that you probably don't want to work with me. Yeah, so that's what you get. That's what I'm laying on the line. But people tend to like it. And more importantly, it's memorable, right? It's memorable. That piece alone starts 10 plus conversations on a daily basis. All I'm asking you to do is stand out from the noise, right? There is a lot of mediocrity and noise. And if you can use these platforms as a way to stand out, as a way to be memorable, that's the most important thing that you can do as a brand. Content has become an unlimited resource. The limited resource that we are all chasing is time, attention span. Even when people say, Phil, what do? I have haters commenting on my YouTube channel. I tell them, that's great. You know why that's great? Because the people that are taking time to comment on your YouTube video, do you know what's going to happen to them? And what's going to happen to all of us? We're going to die at some point. And the fact that someone has taken valuable minutes of their life to spend them on you, good or bad, what a compliment. It's just reframing all of this, right? And so that's how I need you to think of it. I know many of you potentially haven't prioritized Twitter up to this point, but I have a whole book about this. Oh, here's a good segue. Good job, Phil. I'm giving a brand new copy of my book. I was supposed to have 30 copies arrive in Ohio yesterday, but instead they were sent to Florida. Thank you, UPS. So funny, Jessica, you had a copy of my book, the fancy new title. And so we've added all kinds of new content to it. And I was hoping to launch it at this conference, but let's still launch it, even if there's only one. Yeah, thank you. It is available on Amazon. And now it's even more exclusive. One person will get this, and it will go to someone. It will go to someone who has sent me a tweet, a question. So pull out your phones, open up your Twitter app for the first time in 3 years. So let's talk about following versus followers. If you're new to Twitter, those are the two counts essentially. So every time you follow someone, that counts 1 towards your following. When someone follows you, that counts 1 to your followers. If you look at celebrity profiles, they have tons of followers, and usually the following is quite small. That's how you look fancy. I typically recommend, I'm currently breaking this rule, but I typically recommend implementing a follow-unfollow strategy. And deciding, I think if someone has made an effort to engage with you, follow them. I don't follow everyone back that follows me. They have to work hard for it. Some business clients I have do follow everyone back. And then the rule that I'm breaking that I said is following more than 10,000 people. You typically want to keep your following lower than that, which seems like a lot of people, but as you start to, follow new people every single week, ideally, you unfollow the people that don't follow back, because if they don't follow you back, what are they? They're losers. They're dead to you, correct? Correct. You're catching on. Yeah, if someone's not following you back on Twitter, then I don't believe you should be following them. If it's a celebrity whose updates you want to continue to get, add them to a list. But babe, this is a popularity contest. We can't have our following high and our followers low, because then we look lame. Make sure, if you want to look good, you want to look like a thriving business, you want to look fancy, established, get that follower count up higher, which is going to happen by being active and by starting conversations on this platform and implementing a very basic follow-unfollow strategy, which I teach you in a whole chapter in the book. And I explained it there much better than I could on stage. Thank you for asking about that. So do we have time for one more? Thank you for asking about Twitter ads. I do actually have a few client campaigns running Twitter ads right now, and I'll tell you, they are quite expensive compared to Facebook campaigns. Of course, this differs campaign to campaign, but I see some nodding. I imagine people who run both tend to agree that Facebook is still really quite valuable in terms of how targeted you can make it to access an audience for pretty low spend. So I would say, yeah, I would say my Twitter ads almost always cost at least double what we're able to do on Facebook. I still have clients that see the value in that, particularly ones on TV, where Twitter is often how people judge, how established their brand is. So we still, and we use it for website conversion, all different goals. But yeah, it's definitely more expensive. That's why I get excited about people implementing an organic strategy that they don't have to spend money on. Great. Thank you guys for having me. This has been so much fun.